Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to share with you one of my favorite recipes to make, not only for a Sunday lazy lunch, but also to have it in my freezer and in my fridge so that I can use it in many different ways, which is the bolognese sauce. Now, this is very important because I don't want any Italians throwing tomatoes at me when I'm walking in the streets. This recipe is a little bit different from the official original recipe that can actually be found in the Chamber of Commerce in Bologna, so you know they mean business. A few of the ingredients are different just because sometimes I want to use something up or it's a little bit more practical and convenient this way, but I will be sure to post the actual traditional official recipe below. So if you want to make it just like Italian nonas do, you can. We will begin by chopping some carrots, some celery, and some onions. And something that I have learned since getting here in Italy is the fact that the veggies in a bolognese sauce are actually very important. So you don't want to skimp on them. They have to be a presence in the sauce. It's a great way of not only adding another flavor and some freshness, but some texture as well, and balancing out the richness and the meatiness of a bolognese sauce. For the meat itself, I like to use a mixture. Traditionally, I think you would have to use pancetta and beef. I like to use a mixture of beef and veal just because, again, it'll give you a more complex, rounded flavor. Today, I will be using beef and I will be using veal that is already ground. I know that a lot of chefs in their recipes actually will ground them fresh in their kitchen or even chop it really finely. You could do that as well. For the tomato sauce, I am actually using datterini, which is a sweeter flavor, which I think is a really great note opposing the more savory meat. I use the canned version because it's much more convenient, easier to find. If you want to make it from scratch, you can. Then as an aroma, I have some bay leaves. I think in the original recipe they also use rosemary that will bring out that more earthy herbal flavor that is also a great pairing with meat. And finally, I have a glass of red wine. Traditionally, you would use white wine, but this is what I have, so this is what I'll use. Of course, you will need salt and pepper and olive oil. And finally, if you do want to add some richness in the final process of the cooking of the sauce, you can also add some cream. I have never done it. I don't think it needs it. Instead of adding the cream, I just add a little nib of butter at the end. So these are the ingredients. Now for the step-by-step cooking of my beautiful bolognese sauce. Well, you guys, this is my best friend, Le Creuset. We have met before. She makes the best sauce you can ever imagine. So if you can, get yourself one of these. Yeah. We will turn on medium-high, olive oil, a whole lot. I like a squeezy bottle because it gives me more control. We'll just let that get pretty warm. You can splash some water, and if it starts sizzling, you know it's warm enough. And then we will add our meat and salt it, pepper it, take it out, then do our veggies, deglaze with some wine, add the tomatoes, the bay leaf, some water, and we are good to go. Add in some salt, some pepper as well. We want to cook this until we can see some browning in the bottom of the pan. It's highly likely that when you put all of your meat inside of the pan, it'll start to release some juices. This prevents the browning from happening. So what I do to kind of counterbalance that, I take out some of the meat because it is already cooked. You can see that it has kind of steamed. If this was filled with meat, the steam wouldn't have enough surface to dissipate and it would take a lot more time. So this is what I usually do. Now we see some browning. Yes, this is what we were looking for. This is what will give depth and that tasty, savory flavor to this dish. So do not skip this part, it's really important. A little utensil that I love to use for this recipe is this wooden spoon with the straight edge, because it really helps to scrape down the bottom of the pan, but given that it is wood, it will not hurt the bottom of your pan. So great little tool that I love to use. Now I'm going to remove this meat once there is a little bit more browning, and I will add the veggies. You will see that I have roughly chopped these, so it's not perfectly diced. It will, again, cook for a long time, so you don't need to be very precise. I am already scraping the bottom of my pan to make sure that all of those bits and pieces mix with my ingredients and all of the flavors are completely combined. Alrighty, so you can see that the veggies have cooked down, they are more translucent. We can add our wine, and we will let this reduce, and then we will add our tomatoes. Like any nonna will tell you to do, I filled the cans with water to wash out any remaining tomato sauce, and I will add some water to the sauce. This way it'll have enough water and liquid to cook for a few hours and not burn. You can already tell that it's going to be amazing. Adding my bay leaves. Now I'm going to cover this baby up, and when it starts to boil, I will bring the heat down, leave it partially covered, and it will reduce for hours and hours and hours. It is very important for you not to let it burn. So if you feel like the liquid is evaporating too fast or that it is looking a little bit dry, add some water. Otherwise, you will get that burnt tomato flavor that just you cannot fix, and it will ruin your sauce. So low and slow, take care of this baby just like it deserves. Of course, I just platter myself with sauce because it is me we are talking about. I'll add some extra salt just so it doesn't remain too bland, but I do adjust the seasoning by the end. So yeah, I'll keep you posted. Look at this texture. Oh my god. If I could marry a sauce, bolognese would be my first choice. Well, it has been 6 hours. It is dark outside. I thought I would be able to use this sauce to make myself some lunch, but I resisted, and I thought that those who are patient get the best bolognese. Right now, it has completely thickened. I love how with the longer cooking time, you actually get a more cohesive sauce. The ingredients are kind of melded together instead of just being separate in a brothy situation. Technically, the sauce is ready when you just stick your wooden spoon in there and it doesn't fall off. Pass the test. I really like to cook this down as much as I can, just because the more concentrated version of a sauce is more flexible. You can have it like this, very intense and very pure, or you can thin it out maybe with a little bit of pasta water. You can add a little bit of broth if you're using this in a different recipe. You can add a little bit of water if you want to make it a bit runnier, a bit juicier. But I do feel like doing it this way is also great if you're stuffing something. For instance, I love doing like little filled zucchini with bolognese and some mozzarella on top. If the sauce is too runny, it will go everywhere, it will be a huge mess. Same thing if you're doing a lasagna, you want something that is not too liquidy so your dough won't be floating around the dish. I do advise you to have the patience and let your sauce cook completely. So now I'm going to let this cool a little bit because it's really hot. I will taste it for seasoning, see if it needs a little bit more pepper, a little bit more salt. I'll add that nub of butter that I mentioned before just to round it out and sort of emulsify a little bit of the liquid. Then I'm going to portion out the sauce, and I like to actually freeze much of it. I will freeze it in portions, so whenever we want to eat it, or if we don't have anything planned for that day, it's really easy to just take it out, put it in a pan with a little bit of water, and it will melt and defrost really fast, and you have an amazing dish to eat really quickly. And since it is already late, I'm not going to eat pasta now, but tomorrow I will prepare a little bit of noodles. I don't know if I'll do spaghetti or fusiloni, and I'll show you what it looks like and how I like to prepare it. Well, you guys, hopefully this video inspired you to make some bolognese at home. Once you start making it and you start having it at your disposal in your fridge, there is no going back really. It's one of those blessings of delayed gratification. You have a little bit of work now, but you will be thankful later for having amazing recipes at the tip of your fingers. I will finish this plate and I will probably make another plate afterwards, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any different recipes for bolognese below. What did you think of the ingredients? What did you think of the method? And we will see each other again next time. Bye!